show. My name is Cody Scott, and today our guest is one of my oldest friends in Nashville, a bona fide multi-instrumentalist, drummer of Eddie and the Getaway, and one of the people who has kept me sane in this crazy town for the last 7 years. Ups and downs, failures and success, the true definition of what a friend should be. Jack Silverman. Welcome, buddy.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome to the Upload Asylum.
I'm stoked to be here.
First episode. Here we go.
Here we go.
So tell the people exactly where you're from.
So I'm from Massachusetts. I was born in Cape Cod, and I grew up in Western Mass, about 2 hours out of Boston.
So country boy or suburban boy?
Country boy, all the way.
I picture you in a barn somewhere in Western Mass.
That's a pretty apt description. Yeah, there was a lot of barns and a lot of drums going on out in the barn.
Okay. Yeah, that tracks. You could be the definition of having a good head on your shoulders. You came here at 18 years old. You rented a house, kept your life in order enough to play live music in this city. What do you think it was about growing up in Massachusetts that did that for you? Was it your parents, your friends, your schooling, etc.?
It was everything. Definitely everything. I mean, there's so many ways, especially 8 years now into Nashville, where I just look back and could not have done it without my parents, and definitely could not have done it without the school that I went to, just because of the way that I was exposed to music and mostly just shown what was possible with music. You know, I was really lucky to have some incredible teachers who were working musicians. And so when you're young and you're that impressionable, you're just like, oh, this is actually a possibility.
So what was it in the very beginning? Like, take me back to day one when you first got your first pair of drumsticks. And I imagine, this is what every drummer says, but I imagine sitting there beating on pots and pans when you're a little kid. But, like, what was it when you first got your pair of drumsticks? What was that like?
So I never actually did the whole pots and pans thing.
Okay, we got something different.
Something different. I had friends who were drummers who definitely did that. Okay. But I have really no one musical in my family. Okay. No one else played an instrument. Okay. So they were all a little like, you what? You want to play what?
And how old were you?
I was 10. I was 10. And yeah, so when you start out, I mean, you just have a pair of sticks and like a little practice pad. It's not like glamorous or sexy at all.
Right.
You're just kind of learning the basics, learning the rudiments. And I'm so thankful I did.
Yeah.
You know, because you're really learning how to kind of crawl before you walk. And then, you know, again, my parents, right, they saw that I was just in it, saw that I was spending time investing in it, and they just kind of kept fueling that.
So describe to me what drummer or band initially triggered you. I'm sure it was an emotional thing, because when you're beginning, you're not thinking analytically about what type of music I'm going to play or want to play. What band or person were you like, that's the guy? You know what I'm saying? That's who I want to be.
Totally. For me, it was Green Day. Just bar none. I mean, it just was one of those things.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yep. And you know, look at my drumming now, and you can really kind of trace back that inspiration and that kind of like drumming DNA, if you will. My tendency to kind of push a band when I'm playing, to really drive on top of the beat, is a direct result of growing up listening to that.
Right. Well, and the first time we played together, like officially, was Broadway at Crossroads. And I remember as a newbie myself to this town, I was like, I don't know how this is going to go. And that's when I really figured out how much a drummer sort of drives the show, sort of the heartbeat. And you were just sitting right in the pocket the entire time. And it made it a lot easier for me as a frontman and singer, guitar player, to be like, oh, this is way easier. When you have someone at the helm that's like calm, cool, and collected, it made it way easier for me to sit there and be like, oh, I don't have to think about like timing, or it was just in there, you know, in the bones of the music with you. So,
Totally.
What exactly pulled you to Nashville? Like, where? I know you're a smart kid. Why did you decide at 18 not to go to college and go run off to be a rock star instead? Because that's happening.
Man. I always looked at college was gonna be there.
Right.
You know, even now, if I want to go back to college, I could.
Yeah.
And especially too when you're growing up in Massachusetts, you have Berkeley School of Music like right in your backyard.
Right.
So from a young age, it was always like, oh, go to Berkeley, go to Berkeley. And the older I got, the more I realized I just wanted to jump in and get my hands dirty. Like I was just like, hey, I want to start this thing as frankly as soon as I can.
Right.
And again, like I can always go back to school, and I guess I knew playing music was going to be tough, and I didn't want to be a musician also saddled with hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt.
Yeah, because we're already in a
Right,
money
it's
pit.
already tough enough as it is, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to give myself the best fighting chance. And I, again, going back to, some amazing teachers, they were like, hey, if you want to go and do this, go and do it, and find people who are doing what you're doing.
Right.
And learn from them, as opposed to, you're in school and you might be learning, certain subjects, but there's also a lot of information that you're not necessarily gonna need.
Like sink your teeth into the real life circumstances, sort of deal.
And I can really confidently say, kind of, I don't want to say on the other side of it, where there are so many things that I have learned, whether it's about the industry, touring, what have you, that they are not going to teach you in a classroom. Stuff that will save your life, save your career, and it kind of puts that perspective of like, oh, I want to figure out a way to give that back to the next generation.
Right.
Coming up.
Well, speaking of classroom, so we can go back a tiny bit. Where did I think you went to an art school or like a music school? When did that start? You started at 10, and then what? You went to middle school, normal middle school, public school?
Yeah, so you're correct. I went to a performing arts school.
Okay.
And so that actually started in 7th grade, and I really owe so much to that school because, I had the option of just going to like the normal regional school, and I already know like it just wouldn't, there was no life there. There was no passion.
Yeah.
I'm sure that I would have just, graduated and gone to college and been swinging a hammer for the rest of my life, you know?
Yeah.
And so when I started in 7th grade at that performing arts school, that was really that spark, surrounded by other people who were musicians who I was playing with, you're starting your first band, all these super formative things that really just inspire you.
Because when I think of, because I'm not, I can't read music and all that. I didn't grow up with it. When I think of music school, I'm like, is it like super rudimentary, like elementary robotic, like you're learning the drums and how to write out the music? Is it like that, or is it more like artistic expression and freaking poetry class? And
yeah. Well, so they kind of split it up where you had your normal academics, so you got your math, science, everything, in a normal school. And then there's the 4, different majors where it was visual arts, music, dance, and theater.
Right.
So for me, like my major was music, and so you were doing music performance, music theory, and music history.
Okay.
Within those classes, like it wasn't your standard like, oh, it's going to be jazz band. Like these were high performance audition ensembles where like these teachers, I mean, they were throwing stuff at 14-year-old kids that like frankly, dude, we had no business doing.
Yeah.
But we didn't know any different.
Yeah.
We were just like, oh, that's just what 14. Oh, we learned Snarky Puppy. Okay, that's what we do.
Do you think that kept you like engaged versus like a normal?
God, yeah.
Yeah.
I like, especially too talking with some of my peers who didn't get that experience. Like they were fighting so much more of an uphill battle just to be creative, to find people to play in bands. Like I have a lot of respect for people who did not have the opportunity that I had.
Right.
Because I owe so much to that.
Well, I think about it because America is pulling so much money out of the arts and music education. And if I was given that opportunity or option, I feel like I would have went that route because I'm more of I was a dancer growing up. I was a weird boy. Okay. The acting, you said that, there's different performing arts, different majors and so on. But I think about that and I'm like, that must have been so awesome for like a 10-year-old or, 13-year-old, 16-year-old who's like, we were running on 100, and if you're not giving something stimulating, then you're not paying attention. So if they were tossing these difficult equations, if you will, at you at
Yeah.
that age. It must have been awesome to engage, and you're clearly using it in your adult life, which is awesome.
100%.
From the start, it was learning and then using what you learned in middle school and high school.
Yeah, and I still have, relationships and friendships from high school, that I have to this day. And, you follow kind of each other's progress and path through art. And, I mean, playing music, any sort of artistic expression, if you're going to do it for your life, like, there's a lot of ups and downs. And so to have people who are kind of traveling on a similar journey is just, that connection is such a blessing.
So, what was the first band?
The first band was this group called Static End.
Nice.
And yep.
Hell yeah,
And just one of those things where we were all in a music class and we're like, we should be in a band. And again, like the guitar player, my dear friend Izzy, like first roommate in Nashville, actually just saw her last week. She came down to visit. So like, yeah, relationships and friendships that have just continued to this day.
I remember when I think I moved in with you right after Izzy might have bounced. So
Yep.
that's freaking awesome.
Yeah, it's just really cool to kind of look back and just be like, someone from my very first band.
What was it like? Was it like punk? Was it rock? Like classic rock? Like what was the style?
Yeah, it was like rock with a little bit of like surf. Like it was like, yeah, because it was just such a melting pot.
Yeah.
We had kids from like 62 different districts come into the school.
Damn.
So a lot of different, inspirations, a lot of different, kind of upbringings.
Right.
And,
different variables in it.
Yeah, we were just throwing it all into the blender.
Damn. Yeah, because I was listening. I'm a very confused person because I grew up listening to Michael Jackson and then, the Chris Browns, and I was dancing and stuff. And then I got into a little stoner phase, and I got into a little Sublime and a little Slightly Stupid.
Yeah.
And then it was the punk phase,
Totally.
Blink-182, the Rancid, Green Day, and No Effects, all that stuff. And then, yeah, it's pretty crazy that you had the option when you had the ability when you were 14. How old were you when that started? The
12.
band? 12?
Yeah, 12, 13.
You were in a band at 12,
Yeah.
dude.
That's what I mean, like, and I always, like, try to kind of reflect that to you, where it's like, you picked up the guitar, like, much later than a lot of people did.
Yeah.
And so it's always that thing as your friend of, like, dude, give yourself some grace, give yourself some love, because you're doing it, like...
Bro,
it was
it's hard.
years and years after I even started.
Well, coming to this town, like, when you start at 21 and your buddies start at 10, like, all of my friends, like, for example, all my bandmates all started at 10 or 12.
Yeah.
And you especially, like, you were one of my first friends here, and I was like, boy, I have some catching up to do, for real.
But also kudos to you for just showing up and just being like, hey, this is what it is. Like,
ready to go.
Ready to go,
Ready to freaking rock.
Because it really was that, like, intention and that pure just drive that I was like, oh, this dude, like,
Right, and well, there is something to the sentiment of it's really never too late to start.
Totally.
Because I felt like I was late, and now I'm 30. I was 23 when I got here. Completely clueless, but with, like, starry-eyed and adventure in my eyes.
Yeah.
And so it's really awesome to see, two different variables. Like, you come from music from the jump, pretty much, when you're a little kid, and I came later, and yet we played together and meshed very well. So that was freaking awesome when I got here.
Yeah.
Definitely much needed when I got here was to find someone like you. So that was awesome for me.
For sure.
Let's see here. What else we got? Okay. So what are the things you came in Nashville that you did not expect? Like, what are some of the things you got here and some speed bumps that you were like, oh boy,
Good question. Yeah, I think a lot of people will make the move, and again, it's not, painting with a broad stroke brush, but a lot of people will make the move to Nashville and be like, I'm in Nashville, like, I made it.
Yeah.
And it is kind of that thing of when you first move here, there's a fair amount of, you're trying to meet people, you're trying to build these connections, but you're also having to be really mindful about your energy and your time and what you're putting that into. And there is a fair amount of like, all right, appreciate it, but not for me. And you have to be really intentional about it, but then also recognizing that you're just gonna have to kind of go through the muck a little bit to figure out what you like and what you don't like. And they do like they call it a 10-year town for a reason because it takes a pretty substantial amount of time to build that community. And I can definitely say, kind of being on the other side of that, it's like when you do have that community solidified, oh, it's just the greatest thing.
Right. Well, it's interesting to me that I feel like there's a few lanes that you can sort of get stuck into. Like when I first got here, I literally longboarded into the town and I was walking around Broadway like, oh my God. And then thinking Broadway was like the centerfold for what the Nashville music scene is.
Right.
And there's like 3 lanes you can get stuck into. And it's like you get here and you run Broadway into the ground. Like you literally run yourself ragged. So that's one option. Or you're like a writer, or you're on the outside of the town, but you pitching songs and all that stuff, and maybe you went to Belmont or whatever it may be. And then there's the guys like me. It's sort of an ebb and flow. Like I got here, burned myself on Broadway for like 2 years busking. I got a job as second fiddle bouncing. And then I was just so burnt because I was like, this is so much, stimulation. And then I sort of got away from it and I came back. I come and play and then I don't play. And I think you found like a steady lane. Like you play Broadway shows with Ty Chase, who's another friend of ours. What is it called? Big Machine?
We've done that in the past.
Yeah. Like you do those occasionally and you'll do pop-ins, and you've sort of kept like it seems like from the outside, a happy balance from being stuck on Broadway forever and working original music and touring and then doing, it's sort of like you can switch jobs up, whatever you feel.
Totally. And I use, those kind of different lanes as tools and also ways of keeping those relationships up. I don't play Broadway because it's like, oh, I necessarily need to play Broadway. Right. It's like I want to, because I tour so much, I want to make sure that like I have those friendships. And sometimes you just want to like kind of let your hair down and like you not be running a clique in Ableton and just kind of like rip some songs with your friends and sleep in your own bed. So like that's kind of how I utilize it. And when you're kind of talking about different lanes, for me it's like doing the touring thing with a national touring act, having the tools of like, oh, working with other writers, other producers. Like I just want to always kind of have my hands in different pots, because for me that's just the creative fulfillment. Like that's what keeps me coming back.
Yeah, it's like you're microdosing Broadway.
Yes, yeah, because it's
so it's actually fun when you do go down
right,
there.
Yeah. Exactly, and it's nothing against the guys who go there. I mean, I have so much respect for those dudes. Yeah. Like they kick ass. They're phenomenal musicians, and that is not an easy circuit. No. And I just kind of knew for myself that that's not the path that I wanted to pursue. And so I worked a day job longer than a lot of my peers because I specifically kept myself from just throwing all into Broadway.
Right.
I really knew that I wanted to jump into touring and kind of doing things, just playing original music.
Right.
And so I never mind when I have a weekend off the road where I can just go and play some music down there. Yeah.
Well, because we know so many guys, we have a lot of friends down here, and a lot of them are doing 4 shifts a day of 4-hour sets.
I hope not 4 shifts. That's crazy.
I see it all the time, dude. It's crazy.
I know like guys who do triples, like a couple bass players do triples.
I've seen 4 a lot. When I was bouncing, bro.
That's 16 hours.
I know.
What the fuck?
Well, then we get there. I mean, some of the bars are different. Some of them open at 9 and some would open at 11. But when I was at Second Fiddle, there was guys coming in at 9 a.m., leaving at 3 in the morning.
Oh. And
I was like, how are you alive right now?
Yeah,
like, how much Adderall and alcohol is it going to take to keep doing this?
That is so not my bag, especially too with drumming, because it's just so physical.
Right.
It's like,
right.
I mean, I think even 4 hours straight is a lot.
It's insane.
Yeah.
The first time we did it, this is where we'll transition into where you're currently at. The first time we did it, we did a 4-hour set. It was last minute. I tried to get some boys together. I got my boy Tim Hutchins from New Hampshire. I'll get him on the podcast soon. Tim Hutchins from New Hampshire. I met Jackie Boy down here, and then who else did we have? Was it just John?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so a guy named John Frisch, who's also killing it right now in the music game.
Yep.
Got him, I don't know if it was Facebook or whatever, but last minute gig. He's a bassist. I asked him, I was like, hey buddy, can you come play some 90s grunge songs in an hour? You know, it was
literally.
like literally that day. And he's like, yeah, I got you. And he was driving in from like somewhere in the country. He said he drove like 20 hours straight or something like that. And then it was just like, yeah, I got you.
Which is the most John Frisch thing to ever do.
And he showed up completely like clear, on point, you know, didn't miss a beat, like didn't look tired. And I was like, what is going on? Is he Superman? Like, what is this guy?
Yep.
And so we play Crossroads, and I'm singing Fuel, I'm singing Pearl Jam, I'm singing Alice in Chains, the Foo Fighters, and that was my first like full band Broadway gig. I had done acoustic stuff, but it was full band. And then I remember taking a pee in the middle of the set, and I was like, hey, can one of y'all hold this down while I take a pee? And I start taking a pee, and I hear a beautiful angel voice coming from the speakers in the bathroom, and I'm like, mother trucker, this dude's gonna take my job. John Frisch, if you ever listen to this, dude, you have the voice of an angel. You should be a front man yourself with that damn voice. I think he was singing Tennessee Whiskey or something.
Yeah.
In those runs, bro.
Yep.
But anyway, I cut off my pee so I could come back and hold down the rest of the show. But anyway, so that night we played with John Frisch, and that's how, I believe that's how you met Eddie, your current bandmate, right?
Yeah, because John and I just kind of were talking after the gig, and you know, we just kind of keep in contact throughout the years and like just catch up. Mm-hmm. And I had gotten a message from Eddie probably like a year prior to actually playing with him. Mm-hmm. And I was booked up through the year, just couldn't do it. Frankly, I didn't even know who he was. I was like some random number. I was like, oh, whatever. Yeah. And cut to like a year later, I'm just like sitting on my couch. It's like a Monday night, and this is when like Eddie's song "Overdose" was like blowing up, like the first one that was popping. Mm-hmm. And just get a text from John. He's like, "Hey, do you want to shoot a music video tomorrow?" And I was like, "I ain't got anything better to do."
Yeah.
And so he sends over the song, and I'm learning it. I'm like, damn, this is actually a really good song. Mm-hmm. And so I show up and meet Eddie. And it was just like one of those things, like I've said to you before, where it's just like you meet someone, and you're like, oh, I've known you for years kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the first, you can go and watch that music video. That was the first day I ever met Eddie.
Really?
That was go and watch the Overdose music video. It's like that. We had known each other for all of maybe 15 minutes.
It's like 3, 2, 1, go.
Oh, and that's really what it was. And I guess coming, to it after the fact that's when Eddie knew. He was like, oh, this is the guy.
Yeah.
Because it was 3, 2, 1, go. And I was immediately just all in, a music video. You're
flailing,
just trying to make it look as visually, kind of stimulating as possible. Mm-hmm. And there was no warm up. There was no nothing. It was just go. And I was just in it, so. And
so ever since, you've been playing with Eddie and mm-hmm. touring, and you've been all over the U.S. I've seen you freaking in South Texas all the time, or freaking Nebraska or something, or the Dakotas, and I'm like, what is happening?
I know. Well, it's mutual. I feel that too. I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah. Well, I see you on tour, and I'm like, is he alive? Is he Keith Mooning it out there? Is he like making good decisions? What's happening?
Gosh.
What kind of bad decisions have you made on the road? Let's go there.
Ooh, good question.
Within reason. We don't have to.
Yeah. Wow. I mean,
wait. Tell me about was it Eddie running down the road? Remember when you were late for something and you guys had to sprint?
Oh my God. Right? That wasn't a bad decision. That was just what needed to happen.
Right. Tell us that.
Yeah. We were playing a show in Baton Rouge, and if anyone, obviously knows about Baton Rouge, it's LSU.
Yeah.
So massive, massive football town. And it was a Saturday night gig, and we had sound checked, gone back to the hotel, and we knew that traffic was going to be really bad because the game was happening or letting out. Mm-hmm. And so we leave an hour earlier than we need to be at the venue. And after about like 45 minutes of sitting in traffic, like road closures, everything, we were like, oh, we're not going to make the gig. So like Eddie's on the phone with the promoter, and eventually we just have to like ditch the car. And
What about the driver? Who's the driver?
well, I think this was back in the day where it was just Eddie and I, because we used to rip.
You left the car.
We ditched the car. We just pulled it over a random part in the road, and yeah, it was back in the time where it was just Eddie and I. We were ripping as a two-piece.
Oh my god!
And so Eddie's got his guitar. He's wearing boots. I've got like my backpack and like
your cymbals.
Well, thank God everything had been sent.
Okay,
so
cool.
Set up, you're ready to go, and we just have to start running. Because we're not going to make it. And Eddie's on the phone. He's like, we're coming. We're running. All of a sudden, we hear what sounds like a herd of buffalo. And it's the LSU marching band.
Oh, my God.
And, like, 500 fans all coming up the road.
No.
And we, like, turn around. We, like, cut through some bushes.
You're going against the grain?
Yeah, like, we're like, we have to get away. Like, we got...
No pun intended. Nice.
So bad. And eventually, I'm just like, we're not going to make it. And I'm kind of, like... putting it out to the universe. I'm like, just help us get there.
Yeah.
We see one of those pedal
tavern thingies.
They're not pedal tavern, but it's like, you know, the guy will like bike and you sit in the back.
Okay.
Yeah. And he's going the other way, and I flag him down. I'm like, brother, I will give you $40 right now if you pedal us to this gig.
Haul ass.
And so we like cram in, Eddie and I, you know, in this little cart. He's got his guitar. And this guy's just booking us down the road. I have a video of it, just like
really,
us being like, what? Yeah, it was like, what is going on right now?
Hell yeah!
And we roll up to the gig. The promoter's holding, you know, like the set time. He's like, just get there when you can. And I like turn the corner. We haven't warmed up at all. I'm literally putting in my in-ears, like getting my pack on, the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I like peek over the curtain, and there's like 3,000 people
Let's
all just cramming in there,
dude.
And there was no time, no warm up. We literally get out of the pedal cart, and I just hit the stage. I'm like, you ready? 3, 2, 1, go.
Oh my god, dude.
Yeah. And that was. It's just stuff on the road where there's no way of knowing how it's all going to shake out. And it's the most beautiful thing and stressful thing at the same time.
Right. Well, you lay your head down in what? Was it a bunk or was it the van or what?
Yeah, we were in a van.
Okay, so you lay your head down in the van that night and you're just like,
yeah.
Made it.
Yeah. But it was just, you're running on pure adrenaline. I mean,
right.
You roll up, I jump out of this thing. I'm like, oh my God, this place is packed right now.
And then you're driving to the next city.
Right. Just. God. Wash, rinse, repeat. It's crazy, dude.
Is Eddie running on energy drinks and Celsius and Red Bull?
Oh, yeah, and a whole lot of Zyn.
Okay.
A whole lot of Zyn.
Zyn is in right now.
It's crazy, dude. We're really, like, in, you know, terms of bands go, like, we're a really tame band. Like, we really want to make sure that we've got the energy and the effort to put on a kick-ass show each night.
Right.
You know, because, like, frankly, dude, like, we want to go out and just burn the place down every night.
Well, I remember I saw you at Chiefs, and I know it was the beginning, but it was what was that night called?
Probably
Whiskey Jam? Yeah, I saw you at Whiskey Jam down at Chiefs, and I hadn't seen you yet with Eddie. I know you as Blink-182 and Sum 41 and Green Day, and I hadn't seen you play country or, like, country rock or, like, the grungy country rock you guys got going on. And I was sitting in the VIP section side stage, and I was like, oh my God, like, I don't know how long the set was. Maybe it was like 10 songs or something.
No, dude, it's Whiskey Jam. It's 3 songs.
Okay, maybe.
Like, you got to come out to an actual show because, like, you saw it in, like, such a, like, baby stage version.
Right. Well, you say that, and I was like, these are all hits. Every song you guys played was a hit, and I know it was kind of like a puzzle piece to put together version of what you guys have now. But I was like, as soon as you guys, like, 3, 2, 1, go, I was like, damn it. These guys are about to blast off. Like, whatever's happening. Like, Eddie's an incredible writer, and he's got incredible, you know, stage presence mixed with you and mixed with your new guys. You got who's the new guitarist you have?
Mark. Yeah, shout out to Mark.
Yeah, you guys, and every time I see you guys now, I'm like, damn, this is awesome. Like, they're popping off, and I'm so excited for that.
It is awesome, man. It's really cool, and it's also, you know, funny even just talking about, you know, a show like Whiskey Jam because it's just grown so much since then. And you know, with me, like, so I'm Eddie's musical director, and the ability to build a show, and then each kind of like touring season, it's always that thing of like, we're gonna do something different, we're gonna try and up the ante, and I'm always just kind of clued into, all right, how does that transition feel? Is the audience responding? Where are we kind of losing them? Like,
Mm-hmm.
always continually trying to like tighten the screws.
Yeah.
So that each time we're bringing out the show, like it's just better and better. Like that's always the
Well,
goal
and the
for me.
beautiful part about it is that is kind of in-house, like the stage production. Like what you're putting together is just you, just Eddie, it's like a small group of dudes. It's not a bunch of directors and editors
No,
and,
it's Eddie and I sitting down in the studio and just being like, all right,
Right.
how can we motherfuck these people?
That's incredible.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and it's just such a, I mean, it's such a blessing, dude, to
Right.
be performing, executing at a high level with people you love.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's really the reason why I do this, and
Yeah.
that's the reason why it's always been kind of at the, the goal for me has
Yeah.
been to get to a place where you're getting to create with people you really care about.
Yeah.
connect with. Yeah.
Well, that's really fulfilling, especially getting to water all these friendships that you've had since the jump. You know, you go on tour and you come back, you pop in and, play downtown if you feel like it. And watering all these friendships and still have that here, like as a home base, and then be able to go off and do the thing that you really came here to do,
Right.
which it was blindly. Because did you see yourself doing this 7 years ago?
Yes. Since I was 10.
No, but
people
country.
always ask, they're like, oh, is this a surprise? And I'm like, no, this is part of the plan.
But I mean this lane of it.
It's really not country, dude. It's a straight up rock show. Like, you come and see us play.
Okay.
It's
I'm gonna have to come see
rock
this
show.
stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, we're coming out just guns blazing, dude. Like,
Okay.
it is 100 miles an hour, pedal to the metal.
Yeah. Well, I
We
see
don't stop.
like John's out with Dylan Marlowe right now, and I see them popping up covers every now and then too. Like he'll go up and sing Wonderwall or some
Oh, yeah,
shit.
yeah,
Are
yeah.
you guys popping in any old bangers?
We do, yeah, just as a way to kind of like bring new people along.
Yeah.
Because I know that in my own life where you go and see a show and you may not know the band, but you'll be like, oh, that was the band that crushed that cover. It just
Yeah.
makes the experience a little more accessible.
Yeah.
And you're inviting people in. So there's a part in the set where I'll come out and I pick up the guitar. So I come up from behind the kit. And that's when we'll do like, a stripped down cover and we get everyone to just sing along.
Yeah.
And it's just such a great, just a community experience.
Which is another thing that no drummer has ever done. I don't think you've never seen a drummer get up from the kit and go play a fucking guitar, which is the raddest. But
It's fun, dude.
is there any goals that you guys are headed towards for this next, coming up year? It basically is tour season right now, but
Yep.
what's the big goals for this next year? Just
Yeah.
building?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy. We're shooting this on a Saturday, and I'm actually in town.
Yeah.
Which is bonkers
I know,
to me.
I know.
I'm like, what do I do with
To
my hands?
schedule this out.
Yeah, dude. I mean, there's always just the way that Eddie and I are kind of just wired. There's always certain things that we're cooking up, goals
Yeah.
and stuff, and yeah, I mean, we're just seeing this thing grow like wildfire, and we're kind of seeing it too, where we're hitting these markets again, and you're just seeing more and more people coming out. Just the response, it's mind blowing sometimes because we still feel like we're at the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
Like we feel like we haven't even gotten started yet.
That's awesome, dude.
And it's just really, really cool. And yeah, we're playing Lollapalooza this year. That's definitely one that I've got.
Hold up.
Circle on the calendar.
They're playing Lollapalooza. That's fucking insane. I'm sorry if my mic is clipping, but cheese and rice. Like, your middle school self would be like, what?
Well, that's funny because people would say that, and I'm like, my middle school self would be like,
Right.
mind blown, and then also like, yeah, no shit.
That's what I was gonna do.
You probably 12-year-old me would be like, you didn't do it sooner? What the fuck,
Oh
dude?
my god.
No, I'm so thankful. Just like, because you really have a deeper appreciation for stuff when you do go through the peaks and the valleys. And I always just try and remind myself of that.
Yeah.
It's like this career, it's really more than a career at times because it's so all-consuming. I mean, it can just get a lot. It can get heavy, and there's a lot of, self-doubt and a lot of kind of obstacles that you got to go through. So when you do get to kind of enjoy those moments, it's just like, just enjoy them. Soak them in,
Dude, well, it's incredible to watch. I've been watching. You've been my best friend since I got here. We used to sit down and drink Mike's Hard Lemonades and just talk about Blink-182 and Foo Fighters, and then run around the house fucking jamming those, or like Fuel.
Yeah.
And just sit there and talk about what we wanted and about life, and we can get into it on another podcast, the deeper rooted problems and stuff if we wanted to, but I
would love to. You know me, I'm always down to get real.
I've really enjoyed watching your rise, dude. It's and where I'm from, we got some frigid people where I'm from. I love you, New Hampshire, but we kind of got some people that don't want to see their friends succeed, and I'm in a place now where I surround myself with all my friends are looking to see each other succeed and smile while it's happening. And I'm just so happy that I get to watch my best friend fucking pop all over the map. And I'm just like actually excited about it. Because there's parts of people that would be like, man, fuck him. I don't want him to succeed. I should be succeeding. But it's like, being in a place where you're really genuinely happy for your best friend. You're just like, damn, dude, you're killing it.
Oh, I love it, man. Thank you.
Dude.
And bro, it cuts both ways, because I know Cody's, gonna be humble about it, but we are shooting this on the 1 year date of your sobriety.
1 year date of sobriety, 365 today, folks.
And so when you talk about being proud of your friends, I mean, it's great to go out and do what you love, but for me, like watching you do this, it's so much cooler. And it just means so much, dude.
I appreciate that, buddy.
Yeah.
Well, cheers to new adventures. Cheers. What do you got coming up? What tours you got coming up?
So we are going to be kicking off some shows with this artist Dorothy. She's a badass rocker, and so we're really excited to play some shows with her. And then we got a couple of headline shows as well. We're gonna go. We haven't hit Texas at all this year, so we're gonna go back and slam that pretty hard coming up.
Let's go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you if you've made it this far. This has been Upload Asylum with Jack Silverman of Eddie and the Getaway. Go check out their socials. They're popping. It's coming up. And go check them out on tour. Come see Jack in town if you got time. Check out his socials if you can. And thank you for watching Upload Asylum.
If I could wear your skin, could I see what you're feeling? Hate spewing head children, silence healing.